personal foul.
That was absolutely ridiculous!
The Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
Up on down. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series.
I don't know. It's tough. Tom's up there, man. Beantown.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Beantown Takes podcast here. I am Jesse Almeida here on Beantown Takes and on YouTube, and we got a lot to cover because obviously, as you guys know, the biggest story coming into this week, the Boston Celtics have clinched the NBA Finals. And what does that mean? That means you guys are getting an NBA Finals video. I will be at either game 3 or 4. Today is Monday, May 30th that I am recording this, so I still don't know what game I'm going to be doing. I will probably know, I would say Wednesday or Thursday would be the day that I know which one I'm going to be going to. So, follow my Instagram. That is down below. That is where I will be announcing what game I am going to. And I'll be also announcing it on the Beantown Takes Instagram as well, because I pretty much run that account. So, go follow both of those. Those are in the description down below. Leave a like if you guys enjoy. Subscribe it now if you guys are new. You guys know what to do. Go check out the website on Beantown Takes. Excuse me. Link is in the description down below. My Venmo is in there as well if you guys want to donate to help go to these games. That is in the description as well. Anything helps. We appreciate all the love and support. And we're starting off with the Celtics. We're starting off with the Celtics because Banner 18 could be coming this year.
Well, I've been a fan of Boston Celtics for, my whole life pretty much.
First Celtics theme was back when I was like 7.
The Boston Celtics became legendary.
So, it is official. The Boston Celtics are headed to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2010. And they are going to be facing the Golden State Warriors. This has been a long time predicted by fans, by people, by analysts, or whatever. This has been a finals matchup that everybody has been wanting to see for a very, very long time. I would say going back to when Kyrie Irving was on this team, that they were predicting Warriors, Celtics, Warriors, Celtics, Warriors, Celtics. But we're finally getting it, and this is obviously going to be a much tougher task than the Miami Heat because I feel like the Warriors are just a juggernaut. Even their starting five, they have a good bench. Like, you got Steph Curry, you got Klay Thompson, you got Andrew Wiggins, who is also a very good player, who could have been a most improved player this year. He could have been in the discussion. Draymond Green, who is a defensive lockdown, and then even Kevin Looney has shown in the playoffs that he has been doing well too. So it's going to be a tough matchup for the Celtics, but honestly, I feel the same way with the Celtics that I do when they were going to face the Miami Heat. I feel like that the Golden State Warriors so far have had a pretty easy run this year. And what I mean by that is, like, just like Miami, they've had an easy trip to where they are so far. I mean, the Warriors faced the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, they got Jokic. Denver is a good squad. But they were missing Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. They were missing a few key players that could have easily elevated them past the Warriors. That's number one. Number two, the Warriors faced next the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant ended up getting hurt, and they were down their superstar. Next thing you know, I believe the Warriors took those next 2 games. So, it would have probably gone to 7 games if they had Ja Morant. Next up, Dallas. Dallas only has one player, really. Luka Doncic. Who else do they really have? You could say Spencer Dinwiddie. Jalen Brunson's good, but they don't have anybody, and they're not a good defensive team. The Celtics are. The Celtics have had to face a Brooklyn Nets team. Yeah, they didn't have Ben Simmons, but honestly, Ben Simmons, besides his defense, really doesn't make that big of a difference. You beat Brooklyn. You swept Brooklyn with Durant, with Kyrie, with a fully loaded Brooklyn team other than Ben Simmons. That's number one. Then you face Milwaukee. Milwaukee didn't have Chris Middleton. But honestly, you blew out Milwaukee 3 out of the 4 games. So I don't think really that makes he would have made a big difference in that series. Number 3, you had to play the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Fully loaded. Other than Tyler Hero, obviously. I mean, that's huge too. But, like, for the majority, a fully loaded Miami team. You have faced teams pretty much fully loaded. Golden State is not. So now Golden State's going to have to face you fully loaded. We'll see how they respond. But, guys, I've been saying all along about the Celtics team that they need to prove to me that they can make it over that next hump in order for me to take them seriously each year in year out. Because obviously they've been sniffing the finals for so long, but then they just shit the bed in crunch time, or they would go into the Eastern Conference Finals and they just be too overmatched. Well, now you finally have a championship contending roster, and this team is finally serious, and it's because of the players finally buying into their roles. First off, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is one of those guys. We would know him for his ball hogging, just dribble, pull up shot, a contested shot, brick. He has finally bought into his role. I want to say that Jaylen Brown averaged about 5 assists a game in this postseason, and that is a huge improvement. He's averaged 4 assists in this postseason. Is that for the season? Yeah, no, that's for the postseason. He's averaged 4 assists. His assist numbers are getting higher, and he's not ISO balling as much as he did before. And his shots are coming off the catch and shoot. He's finding a way to get open without the ball. He wouldn't do that before. And that was a huge issue. That was one of the biggest issues for the Celtics team, was their way of moving the ball around. There is a such thing as going nowhere in basketball. That's you dribbling, trying to create something that isn't there. This team was not playing the right way of basketball. Jaylen Brown especially was one of those guys. And now he has another guy that I'm going to say bought into his role. And honestly, he had to if he really wanted to stick around here in Boston. That's Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart actually really almost choked you the game last night. Taking what? I believe I heard it was like the last 4 shots in the final 2 minutes or whatever, right? Or 3 minutes, whatever it was, when the Celtics were up 13. He actually almost choked you that game last night. However, though, let's throw that aside, because obviously right now, they still got to get the job done. If they want to win Banner 18, he can't be doing that. However, I'll still give him his credit because his credit is due. In this playoffs, he's averaged 15, 16 points a game. He's shooting the ball well. His rebounds of 5 rebounds a game, and he's averaging over 6 assists a game. And Marcus Smart before, obviously, he'd be chucking up contested shots. Again, he thought he was the guy. However, obviously, as we know, the guy is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown on occasion nights. But Marcus Smart needed to buy into his role as the playmaker who can shoot the shot if he's wide open. And he's bought into that role. And I'm going to take back my claim that I said last year. I said last year that you need to trade Marcus Smart. I agreed with Mike. And now I take that back again. Because Marcus Smart's value is undescribable. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you have a guy who's willing to put his body on the line, right? Every single night. He may flop, and that may be annoying. I agree with you guys. However, he dives for every single ball. He gives it his all every single night. You can count on him to give it his all every single night. And as his energy goes, the team's energy goes. That's huge. That is very huge. And you add in the fact that he bought into his role and now he's a facilitator who can shoot the ball. That's just... You need that on a championship team. You need that. It's just... There's no way around it. And another guy who has shocked me very well in this postseason is a guy who, at the beginning of the season, I was saying, why did we get this guy back? He's on the downhill. He's owed a lot of money. Why couldn't we use that money or the assets that we had to get somebody better? And that's Al Horford. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that I said it. That I asked the question why for getting Al Horford back. I guess sometimes players just play better on different teams. Players just fit better. And Al Horford fits what we are doing here in Boston very well. He wasn't good on Philadelphia. He went to Oklahoma City. He wasn't that good in Oklahoma City either. You thought he was done. Well, this season, Al Horford has rejuvenated himself. He energized himself into, like, I want to say 27-year-old Al Horford or whatever. And he turned it the F up. And he is going to be a key player going forward. Because Al Horford's going to have to force Draymond Green or Kevin Looney out of the paint to guard him because he can shoot the ball. And he shot the ball very well in this postseason. Horford's averaging 12 points a game, 10 rebounds a game, and 4 assists a game. So he's playing his role as the big man, as the stretch big man. And he's a facilitator too. Him and Marcus Smart are going to be the key players in this series against Golden State. Because they're going to change, especially Al Horford. Al Horford's is going to make Golden State's defense change. Because before, especially against Memphis and against Dallas, you could have somebody sit in the paint and just guard the interior. Golden State's not going to be able to do that with Al Horford. And even with Rob Williams too, because Rob Williams comes out of the paint to set screens for Tatum and Brown and to set up plays or whatever. They're going to have to come out. They're going to have to come out of the paint. This is going to be a very, very big series. And honestly, guys, this series I mean, this run by Jason Tatum right now has made him a top 10, top 5 player in the league right now. You can argue either one. But this is going to determine how Jason Tatum will look like in Celtics history. Will he be looked at as having a historic run, but then falling short? Or having one of the best performances in Celtics playoffs history? Seriously. Tatum's averaging 27 points a game on 7 rebounds and 6 assists a game. Even he has elevated his game. And the reason why he elevated his game, because again, he is another guy that was looking the ball handle, create an opportunity, not passing the ball around. Well, now he's passing the ball around, and he's still doing his thing. He's been making the right play, and especially in crunch time too. When you need Jason Tatum, he has come up 90% of the time. He didn't come up in Game 6. He only had 2 points in the fourth quarter. Yes. He was kind of shut down in the fourth quarter last night in Game 7 too. But he did hit a clutch three-pointer, right? That made the difference in this game. He wasn't completely out of the question last night in the fourth quarter. He did enough to get you that win last night. And sometimes you just need that. Jason Tatum this postseason has been... We're really looking at a guy who is going to be a top 5 player in this league for years to come. That's what we're witnessing right now. I love this picture right here too. And this is what started this run. This is what started this run. Jason Tatum coming up clutch against Kyrie Irving and KD. It was a 31-point game. He hit the game-winning shot. He made the right play, cutting to the basket, not settling for a three-pointer. We witnessed this game, guys. This was the start of the historic postseason run here. And now we are going to see an NBA Finals game, either Game 3 or Game 4, coming up next week. The Celtics are going to be on the road for Games 1 and 2. So I even have a week and a half to still kind of recover from my surgery still or whatever. So more time for me makes it easier for me. And I think Celtics in 6 or Celtics in 7, guys. I really think Banner 18 is this year. I don't think they're going to let this opportunity go to waste. No doubt about it. But you know who did waste an opportunity this year? That's the Boston Bruins.
What's up, Boston Bruins? Boston Bruins!
So right now, guys, I am working on a article from the Boston Bruins 2021-2022 season. And honestly, the best way that I can put the Boston Bruins season this year, fool's gold. Fool's gold. Why is that, guys? Because the Bruins made some moves in the offseason where we looked at it and we went, they improved their roster. They got more playmakers. They got help on the third and fourth lines or whatever. Tuca's gone. So it's time for us to trust the kid or whatever. He looks great. So other than the goaltending, we've improved our roster. Didn't turn out to be the case. And this year, on this channel at least, we did not have any good luck whatsoever. None. For videos, I think we were 1-3. Personally, for me, I went 1-4. In all the games that I've went to, at least, blowouts. Blowouts. So, sometimes you just hit, sometimes you don't. And this year, they didn't hit what we didn't hit. We only hit one win. I mean, all right, we didn't get shut out, but still. And the Bruins, they were losing to teams that they shouldn't have even lost to. And they were losing bad to a lot of these teams too. I just don't know what to say about this Bruins team. I don't know where they really go from here. They besides at home this postseason, they didn't really look good. They didn't really look good. The second half of the regular season too, I would say that yeah, they had a lot of wins, but they had to grind out a lot of those wins. And against teams that you shouldn't have had to grind out to. For example, overtime win against Buffalo. Let's see. Winnipeg 3-2. And for granted, they had to add in Rask for a little while, and he really didn't do too great while he was here. Arizona 2-1, Seattle 3-2, Ottawa 2-0, Ottawa again 3-2 in overtime, Seattle 3-2 in overtime. Like, those should be teams that you shouldn't even be neck and neck with. They're just not that great. Columbus 5-4 in the shootout. Columbus is okay, I guess. Montreal 3-2 in overtime. You are either competing, grinding it out to every team, or losing them. You never really you really never had that big of a blowout. And they didn't look as dominant as they have in the past. Like, they looked sluggish, they looked slow. I don't know if that's because of age or what, but they just did not look like the Boston Bruins that we have been watching for the last 4 years. They looked different. And if you watched games, you could tell that they didn't look right. And I can't believe how many people had faith in this team after Carolina went up 2-0 at home. Because I was just saying to people, like, this has been them all season long. Like, they would get outskated, they get blown away or whatever. Like, they either get blown away or it'd be a competitive game. Like, this has been them all season long. But then, game 3 and 4, however, that story was different. You beat Carolina 5-2. Pretty decent game, pretty good game there. That was probably the best game of the series for the Bruins, game 3. Then you win 4-2. Then you're thinking, okay, maybe the Bruins are back. Maybe they found something and it's starting to click again. Then they go on the road and lose 5-1, and you're just like, oh, well, what was that? What was the last 2 games for them? You know what I mean? They'd be just back and forth. We're here, but we're not here. We're here, but we're not here. We're here, but we're not here. Then game 6 comes around. 5-2 there as well. Then you lose. The score says 3-2. But it didn't feel like a 3-2 game. You scored a goal in 20 seconds left to make it 3-2, so it was like, yeah, whatever. But, anyways, the Bruins did not play well on the road. They never figured it out on the road. And honestly, besides really parts of the second half of the season, and at home during the postseason, they really just never figured it out, period. So where do you go from here is the question. Well, I personally couldn't tell you. And the reasoning for that is because Patrice Bergeron is contemplating if he wants to come back or not. He's done so much for the Bruins, and he deserves the right to make a decision for himself, whether that's staying here, retiring, or even going someplace else to play. He has earned that right to make a decision for himself. And I don't want to hear people hating on Patrice Bergeron if he does leave. He's done a lot for you. He's been here for 18 years. And I think he's won you a championship. And he's been one of your best players for a long time. He's easily deserved the right to make a decision for himself. He's already said that he does not plan on leaving the Bruins if he does play hockey. But retirement is definitely in the question for Patrice Bergeron. So, you will still, at least there's that for you. At least he said that he does not see himself playing for another team. But you just never know. You never know what free agency comes from. The Bruins might not even want him back. I don't know. I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm just saying that's a possibility. You never know what a team's going to do. So you don't know what the future holds. So, also, Marchand is going to be out for at least 6 to 8 months because he had some sort of surgery done. I can pull that up here so I can actually get that straightened out for you guys. But you're going to be out with Brad Marchand for a little while. And that's another big loss. So 2 out of your 3 guys on the first line might not be with you for a while. He had a hip surgery. Huh. My dad had hip surgery too last November. And he was out. And they told him he would have a full recovery in 6 months to a year. So, yeah, that sounds about right. So you're going to be out of Marchand. You might be out of Bergeron. So where are you going to find production? And then at the same time, you've dumped a lot of money into your team already. So the only way you are able to make a roster move realistically is if you get rid of some players. And honestly, that means you're stuck. That right now means you're stuck. But however, there are a few players that you could really realistically get rid of, and it doesn't really hurt your team. One of those players that I have been saying it for a long time. I like him. He's done a lot in the NHL. However, I just don't think that he fits his team, and that's Nick Foligno. I think that because last year, it's clear as day that he had a very down year, and he looked aged. So he's making about $3-4 million. Wow, I didn't even know that. That's a lot of money for a guy who is like 37 years old and has had injury history. But I personally think that Nick Foligno should be one of those guys that they should be looking to move. Obviously, Jake DeBrusk has been a guy who has been asking out. I don't know if they want to move him or not, but that's been one of the guys too. I think Thomas Nosek should be gone. Maybe you could sell a high on Eric Holla, even though he had a great season this year. Because you're going to have to pay David Pastrnak in a year anyways too, so you're going to have to try to find money somewhere. Matt Grzelcyk is a guy who I could look at being gone too, because the Bruins defense has just been great since the Bruins offense has been good without Matt Grzelcyk. You saw that in, I believe, games 6 and 7. So they could definitely move him. if they don't move him, I could see them moving on from Mike Riley. I feel like you either have to choose Mike Riley or Matt Grisslick. You have to choose one of the two. One of those two is going to be gone, I would think. But, like, other than that, your salary cap is at $81 million. I believe it does go up. I believe it does go up. I'm not sure. But right now, your cap space is at $500K. So you can't really do much in the offseason in terms of free agents. So you're stuck. You're stuck. Sorry I'm leaning this way a little bit, but I just had to go to the bathroom. So you're stuck. You're stuck. It's either you're really hoping to keep Bergeron around. And the number I just said, $81 million, that's without Patrice Bergeron. So you're going to be going into the luxury tax if you want to keep Bergeron around. A lot of questions for the Bruins to answer. And honestly, I couldn't even tell you if they're going to be a championship contender for the next 2 years. It really depends on how the players play and how the roster is constructed. And as of right now, you do not have a Stanley Cup contending team. I know, that's crazy to say, especially after the previous year where they were playing lights out all entire season. And also, before COVID hit, they were the best team in hockey. The narrative has really switched for the Boston Bruins. And so far this season, the narrative has switched for this team also. The Red Sox.
Ladies and gentlemen, the battery for Boston Red Sox.
I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Red Sox. Were they fool's gold too? They might have been fool's gold too. And they had a narrative switch as well this season. The Red Sox, I'm watching them right now. They are currently losing 7-0 against the Baltimore Orioles. That, ladies and gentlemen, is just pure unacceptable. The Baltimore Orioles. That's who we are losing games to right now. And I don't want to hear that they were on a winning streak or whatever, blah, blah, blah. They were on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game winning streak or whatever it was. Because, honestly, they were playing bad teams. They were playing bad teams. And now you're about to lose 3 out of 5 to Baltimore. They looked back, but realistically, they're not back. They're just like the Bruins. And I don't know if I like where this team is going right now either. Why? Even though this guy, Trevor Story, has been playing very, very good the last few weeks, right? This was your big pickup in the offseason, clearly. And I would have liked it if this doesn't mean that Bogarts is gone. Or potentially gone. However, that is the case. That is the question everybody's been bringing up. Will Xander Bogaerts leave the Red Sox? Will the Red Sox lowball Bogarts that forces him to leave? That has been the question in terms of the Trevor Story signing. I said it in the last podcast that I did, however long that was ago, right? That the only way that the Jackie Bradley Jr. move makes sense is if you get another guy. However, they got that guy, right? They got another big name, right? However, they got a big guy as the Orioles just hit another home run. and it's now 10-0. They got a guy for a position that they didn't really need. Story is a shortstop. You have a top 5 shortstop in Xander Bogaerts. You don't need another shortstop. Could you argue that you got him for his bat? Yeah, sure. But you didn't really need Trevor Story. You needed another outfield guy. Seiya Suzuki, Nick Castellanos. You could have had Chris Bryant in the outfield. You could have had Kyle Schwarber back even. That's who you needed. That's who you really needed. You needed somebody in the outfield. Or you needed somebody, I don't know, at first base. Because right now, Franchi Cordero is your starting first baseman. Because Bobby Dahlbeck either strikes out or hits a home run. And he's horrible in defensively as well. Those are the positions that you needed. And I don't know, maybe you needed pitching too. Instead of he's been playing terrible, Eddie Rodriguez, but instead of lowballing him, maybe you re-sign him. I don't know. Or you make some, you get what I'm saying? You make some sort of effort to upgrade your roster. You didn't do that. You did, but you didn't. And now, because you got a guy that could be pushing somebody out the door, I would argue, too, that this is not pushing one guy out the door, but this could potentially push 2 guys out the door. And that second guy is Rafael Devers. Obviously, we know Rafael Devers is very close friends with Bogaerts. It's him and Bogaerts like neck and neck. I don't know if they're like a ride or die people, but like guys, but like it comes across like that. So I feel like if one goes, the other one's gonna go. And robots, for crying out loud, pay your players. Pay your hometown players. Don't lowball them and say, "Oh, we gave you the chance or whatever. We brought you here, so it's your time to pay us back for giving you this opportunity." No, stop doing that. Stop doing that. They're the ones putting in the hard work and proving you guys right. Stop being greedy. I think Devers was like, the extension for Devers was like $100 million apart, something like that, to maybe $150 million apart. That's just embarrassing. That's flat out embarrassing. And they're gonna use his defense as an excuse for not giving him the money. Yeah, his defense is not good. I'll give you that. But his bat is just unmatchable. It's so unvaluable. It's something that you just need to have in your lineup. And he fits right in there with JD Martinez and Xander Bogaerts at that 2-3-4 slot. He's one of those guys. Devers this season, 11 homers, 19 doubles, batting .345 with an OPS of .986. He's driven in 26 RBIs. I really don't know how you could afford losing a guy like that. I don't. And if you lose a guy like that, that sets you back drastically. Drastically. And then you still gotta think about JD Martinez too. Are you gonna pay are you gonna re-sign JD Martinez? And with the season that he's been having so far, having the best average in baseball, I know his power production has slightly decreased, but still, are you gonna be paying him? He's had 17 homers, 5 home runs, 23 RBIs. So like he's still bringing in runs, and he has an OPS of 1.28. Are you going to bring him back too? I just think there's no way you could get rid of that. There's no way you could get rid of, right now at least. There's no way you could get rid of JD. There's really no way you could get rid of Devers. And there is absolutely no reason or no excuses to get rid of Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts obviously has won you 2 championships, has been the best shortstop in Red Sox history. If they lose Xander Bogaerts, right? If they lowball Bogaerts and force him out of town, they will be the laughing stock of New England. They will be an embarrassment of an organization if they let Bogaerts walk. If Bogaerts walks, that means Devers is gone. And that could potentially mean JD's gone and everybody else is gone. You'll be left with like Trevor Story, Alex Verdugo, Bobby Dahlbeck. Watch them re-sign Jackie Bradley Jr. for some weird reason. And I like Jackie Bradley. I'll always say that, but like he's not that good of a hitter. Bogaerts has been the cornerstone of the Red Sox. If you say Boston Red Sox right now, you think of Devers, Bogaerts, JD, Chris Sale. Those are the guys that you really think about. Those are the first guys that pop up in your head in terms of this year and as of recently. Bogaerts is your franchise player. And if you lowball your franchise player that forces him out of town, that makes you look like a fool. Bogaerts is giving it his all, day in and day out. He's like Marcus Smart. He is the cornerstone piece of your franchise. And at the same time, he's producing numbers. He's one of the best players in Boston in terms of all sports. If you want to say top 10 players right now in New England, he's on that top 10 list. And you're gonna potentially let him walk. I think their extension offer to him was that if he was to opt in, they would give him 1 year, $30 million. That's just laughable. Like, are you serious? You're only gonna give him $30 million more if he opts in? That's laughable. And I don't blame Bogaerts for declining that offer. Honestly, guys, if Bogaerts leaves, it's not on Bogaerts. It's not on Scott Boras. It's on the Red Sox. Because Bogaerts has given them every single opportunity to re-sign him. I think he's allowing them to have in-season talks. He took a pay cut to stay here the first time. And he has expressed so many times that he loves it here. Like, I have inside sources or whatever, right? And I heard that Bogaerts said he would be devastated if he could not finish his career in Boston. And that is because the Red Sox would not give him the respect that Bogaerts has given him. David Ortiz really put it at best. It would be stupid to let a guy like that go. It would be stupid. When a guy that is looked at as a legend for your franchise, right? Saying that, that's not a good sign for you. That's just not a good sign. And right now, guys, the way the Red Sox are going, they're under 500. They're in 4th place in the American League East. They're not in the wild card spot right now. I really don't know if they are going to buy or sell. And if they sell and Bogarts is one of those guys that they trade away. It will really say how much Bogarts meant to them. Or not. I think that he should definitely finish the season as a Red Sox. And you need to do whatever you can to keep those three guys around. Bogarts, JD, and Devers. Those three guys right there need to be cornerstone pieces for now. And in the future. Another guy who I would think you need to keep around too is Nathan Eovaldi, because he has been the Red Sox best pitcher for the last few years. JD just lined out to center field. That's why I paused there for a second. I thought he just hit a home run. But I think everybody else besides JD, Xander, Devers, and even Nathan Eovaldi, as I said, are really up in the air. I mean, you're not going to obviously trade Chris Sale because nobody's going to want to take on that big contract. But I think anybody other than those names I said are up in the air. Well, obviously Trevor Story too, because you just signed him. JBJ, great guy, love him to death. Big fan of him. Don't win a World Series without him. However, I don't think you should bring him back after next season. He hasn't been doing terrible. He hasn't been doing terrible like last season. However, he's still batting .227. Only has 1 home run. Where's the strikeout numbers? His strikeout numbers are high. He's at 32. That's not terrible, I guess, but an OPS of 630. I mean, I really think you could find better outfielders than JBJ right now, at least. And again, I like Jackie Bradley. I'm a fan of Jackie Bradley, but I gotta keep it 100. I gotta keep it honest with you guys. I think you need to find a better option than Jackie Bradley Jr. next season at least. But I still can't believe we traded Renfroe for him. I don't know how good Renfroe's doing, but I know he's hitting more home runs than Jackie Bradley. I know he's been driving in more runs than Jackie Bradley. I don't know if the average is better or not, but I do know that he's producing power, and honestly, that's really all that matters in the game right now. I'm pulling up Hunter Renfroe's stats right now. Hunter Renfroe is batting. Oh, wow. He has a light year better average. Hunter Renfroe, 9 home runs, 19 RBIs, 7 doubles, and batting .266 with an OPS of 807. And you traded him for Jackie Bradley Jr. That's what I mean. This front office staff, guys, right now makes 0 sense. The way they are producing their roster makes no sense to me whatsoever. I just don't know what they are doing. I don't know. Again, they are building up their farm system, whatever. But I don't care about the farm system. Our farm system's like top 10 in baseball right now. We don't need to be focusing on the farm system. We need to be focusing on the major league staff. And right now, you do not have a good major league staff. And you made some very, very questionable moves that really downgraded your roster. Ball game over. Red Sox lose 10-0 to Baltimore. They got blown away. They got their doors blown open from Baltimore. I'm going to the NBA Finals game, obviously. So, me going to the NBA Finals means that that's going to be cutting some games this season for the Red Sox. But I honestly think you guys would not mind that, because we are going to see a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So, I really don't think you guys are going to care about the lack of Red Sox videos this season. So, especially if they're playing like this too, I don't think you guys are going to care. I got to talk about the Patriots a little bit. I don't really want to, but I'm going to. Because I have a lot of criticism from them, too, on how they address their offseason.
Michael, watch. Are you ready for some football?
I love the Patriots.
So, realistically, let's just put it this way. The offseason is over for the NFL. And I had the Patriots over 500 for last season, right? However, I do not have them over 500 for this season based off of the moves that they made. Or let me put it this way. The lack of moves that they have made this season. Why? Because Bill thinks he knows everything and he can just run it back, blah, 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 and not give Mac Jones any help. With lack of wide receivers, our defense has gotten worse. Our O-line has gotten worse. Your draft wasn't that good either. And honestly, I have you as the 11th or 12th best team in the NFL. And going into Mac Jones' second season and not giving him any real help whatsoever, you got Devontae Parker. Who really cares? He's not going to help him out that much. It is another weapon with Bourne and Jacoby Myers, yes. However, you need that number one receiver. You need that Randy Moss type receiver like a Devontae Parker, Tyreek Hill. No, or not even that. Just somebody who is a very, very, very good wide receiver. You do not have that. Kendrick Bourne could be that guy. Jacoby Myers could be that guy. But the key word is could be. It's not a guarantee. And everybody in the AFC got better, and you got worse. So, I really don't know what to tell Patriots fans. It's crazy how many people are saying that they're going to go 12-5 or they're going to go 11-6. It blows my mind. I have you like 6-11. I would say 8-9 at best. I have you under 500 this season because you also, don't forget, lost J.C. Jackson. That's a huge loss. I don't know why you wouldn't pay a top defender in J.C. Jackson, but it is what it is. You got Malcolm Butler back to replace him. Ooh, he's starting to get up there in age. The other moves that you have made was you traded for Devontae Parker. Here's a big move. This is a big move here too. You traded away Shaq Mason, who was one of your best O-line guys, to protect Mac Jones. And you replaced him with realistically nobody. So, you got worse this season. That's without a question. You lost Chase Winovich, but I actually think that was an okay move. You traded Chase Winovich for, I believe it was like the 24-year-old left end as well, which is alright. Who's younger, so I think that was actually a pretty decent move. But other than that, you really didn't do too much, and because of that, I don't think you make it to the postseason next season. I think you actually take a step back, and let's add in this too, because this has been the talk of like TV shows recently. They don't even know who their offensive coordinator is going to be. So who's going to be teaching Mac Jones? Who's going to be mentoring Mac Jones like Josh McDaniels did last season? Oh yeah, by the way, you lose Josh McDaniels too as he's going to head coach the Las Vegas Raiders. So Bill has no idea where he is going with this roster. I think he's on the hot seat. In terms of Patriot fans, at least, he's not on the hot seat for Robert Kraft, obviously, but I definitely think he is on the hot seat in terms of Patriot fans. He's on the hot seat for me, at least, because you are actually showing some life, I should say, and maybe you could pull out a decent run, but because of the fact that you choked last season at the end of the year, and you got your doors blown away by Buffalo, it showed that you were not even close to being ready to make a run. And you needed to fill in some holes. And guess what? You didn't do that. You didn't do that. Your draft was terrible. I give you, at best, a D+. Maybe a D, but that's as far as I'm going for their draft. In terms of their offseason, F. F-, as Mike Capolo would say. Man, I miss Mike Capolo on these podcasts, too. I'll do my best to get him back on here at some point. He's actually doing, like, EMT and fire department stuff now. So, like, he's been pretty busy. I mean, I talk to him not as much as I used to, but I do still talk to him. But he's maybe getting some time off soon, so, like, maybe I'll get him on here to have some heated debates or whatever. And when he gets on here for the next time, I'll say, hey, you were 1 year early with your prediction. Yeah, that video's still probably going to be coming this year. But for the Patriots, it's disappointing, man. It's just really disappointing because I think we knew we were spoiled with the Patriots, with Brady and all them. But honestly, I knew this was going to happen. Like, this downfall here, I mean, you obviously have to expect it because there's no more Brady as I'm looking for my charger for my computer. But it's just, I really did not expect them to be this bad. A lot of teams that were in contention for the playoffs last year got better, and that's not a good thing for you. Off the top of my head, Miami got better. Miami got much better. They got Tyreek Hill. They got their guy that helps out Tua. They got their main guy for Tua. Cincinnati obviously just went to the Super Bowl. Pittsburgh got worse. Cleveland got better. Cleveland got Deshaun Watson. And they got somebody else too off the top of my head. I forget who they got. But I know Cleveland got much better. Indianapolis got better. They actually got a quarterback now instead of Carson Wentz. Oh, and by the way, they also got Stephon Gilmore. So their defense got better too. Tennessee still Tennessee. Kansas City still Kansas City. They lost Tyreek Hill, but they ended up getting Juju Smith-Schuster. So there's that. Las Vegas got better. They got Devontae Adams, excuse me. I don't know why I blanked there for a second. Actually, let me go to my article. Let me go to my article right now. I can tell you the moves that everybody has made. Let me go to beantowntakes.com. Guys, go check out the website. Links in the description down below. This has been a very disappointing offseason for the Patriots. Here we go. Miami got better with their big name Tyreek Hill. The Colts got better with Matt Ryan as their new quarterback, and their defense got better with, go figure, Stephon Gilmore as their big defensive end. Kansas City lost Hill but got Juju Smith-Schuster and are still very good with their other key players, as in Travis Kelce. The Raiders added Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones. That was the other name right there, Chandler Jones, as their big moves to add to the team that just missed the playoffs. The Broncos got Russell Wilson. The Browns acquired Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper. That's the other guy. So they lose Jarvis Landry. However, they got a much better wide receiver in Amari Cooper. Then you obviously have the Bills. Then you have the Titans. And the Chargers, who were right there as well. And the Ravens right there as well. Again, a lot of teams are in contention for the playoffs this year. And right now, because of your lack of moves, you're probably the 11th or 12th best team out of the 16 teams in the AFC. You had an opportunity to make yourself a contending team after last season, and you blew it. You blew it. So I really don't think you are a playoff team this year. And Bill's on the clock. Bill is on the clock. And if all of this leads up to Mac Jones falling apart, that is on Bill Belichick. That is on Bill. And honestly, I've heard from a few people now that they think that Bill should just walk away and just retire or whatever, hand the keys to another guy. I'm starting to think that that is the best case scenario for the Patriots. And last year, because of the moves that they did and the fact that they were a first-round exit, and I shouldn't say that. They got blown away in the first round. They got blown out in the first round. In the wild card round. Shows that their season could have even been a fluke. Were they fool's gold too? Man, everybody besides the Celtics have been fool's gold recently. I don't know. Maybe the Red Sox will turn it around. Maybe the Bruins will surprise us next season. I don't know. I really don't know with most of these Boston sports teams right now. But that's pretty much all I have to say about the Patriots. I'm going to close up this podcast with a few things that I have to say based off of myself. So that's going to do it for the Beantown Takes podcast here. Thank you guys for watching or listening to the podcast. Leave a like down below if you guys have enjoyed this. Subscribe right now if you guys are new. You guys know what to do. Go check out my website, Beantown Takes. Link is in the description down below. And also, if you guys want to donate, the link is in the description down below. Anything helps. Appreciate all the love and support. I just want to say thank you guys for all of the messages, all of the prayers, all of the thoughtfulness and care that you guys have been giving me throughout my entire Corona season. I can even see right now as I'm looking into my OBS, man, do I look a lot better than I did before. Yeah, my arms still look like Twizzlers or whatever, but my face looks so much better than it did in the past. Like, I could tell, like, my face was, like, skinny or whatever, but, like, now it looks like I have a little bit of weight on me. I weighed myself the other day, and I'm at 121 pounds. I was as low as 109, so I've gained about 11 pounds. No, that's wrong. 11, 12 pounds. It's been a long journey throughout that road, and I appreciate everybody supporting me or whatever throughout this whole entire thing. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is brighter than it has been for the last 2 years. So, I can't wait for the finals. I cannot wait for the NBA finals. It's going to be great. It's going to... Because I'm going to the NBA Finals, and I'm obviously going to be dropping a boatload on tickets. That's going to mean less Red Sox games for the summer. I think you guys are okay with that. I really think you guys are going to be okay with that because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And this is probably, at least here in the United States, right? This is probably the second biggest event in sports in the U.S. Obviously, the Super Bowl is first, and then I would say it's the NBA Finals. So this is going to be a great video. I really don't care what happens guys, I really don't care what happens. The only thing I don't want for this game is a blowout loss. That's the only thing I really don't want. If it's a close game going down to the wire and we lose, alright, I'm fine. I'm cool with it. But you guys made the right choice. Imagine if you guys chose Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals and it played out like it did. Imagine that. I'd feel bad for you guys because, like, you guys feel like you blew an opportunity. And 2, I would be itching to go to a finals game after that. And I really don't have the funds to do that. I really didn't have the funds to do both. So, thank you guys for watching again or listening. And, again, more videos to come. Seeing that I'm on the rise here and I'm on the uphill now. So, more videos to come. It's been Jesse, and I'll see you guys in the next video. It could be the NBA Finals next. See you later, guys.
Beantown.
Beantown.
Beantown.